Teaching comprehension is rocket science is a quote that's been taken from Reading Rockets. Welcome to the online professional development course, Comprehension in the Classroom. Each week we will be going through one module focusing on comprehension strategies and different types of comprehension and how to implement it into your classroom. Teaching comprehension really is rocket science. Without comprehension, reading is a frustrating, pointless exercise in word calling. It is no exaggeration to say that how well students develop the ability to comprehend what they read has a profound effect on their entire lives. These are the goals we'll be going through this module. We'll be understanding what the reading standards for your grade are, defining what reading comprehension is, learn some of the strategies for before, during, and after when you're teaching reading, and understand complexity and use it to evaluate two texts. Why is comprehension rocket science? It is due in part, in fact, to the fact that it's not a linear process like math is. It's a cyclical process where you have to repeat things over and over. It is an enormously complex task. We have to take it on systematically and explicitly. In the stages we need to do first is number one, set the stage, provide background knowledge, establish what students know or don't know, and clear up any misconceptions they may have, like doing quick checks, partner shares, true or false, and sorts. Number two, we need to explain to the students what to do, making sure that they all understand what the assignment is and why they are learning this idea and what they should be able to do by the end of the assignment. They could do this with thumbs up or thumbs down or turn to your neighbor, heads together. Third, we want to model for students what to do. I discovered, I think, I guess. Teacher describes their thinking so that students really understand how to get through the process. Fourth, guided practice, where the student practices using 2-column notes, graphic organizer, fist of 5, whiteboards, anything like this. Lastly, they need to do independent practice, where they practice the skills they just did in steps 3 and 4. You will notice that each of these steps involves active engagement. Why should we do this? Because students must learn to read, write, speak, and listen and use language effectively in a variety of content areas. The standards promote the literacy skills and concepts required for college and career readiness in multiple disciplines. The purpose we do it is to have a clear set of shared goals and expectations for the knowledge and skills students need in English language arts and mathematics at each grade level so they can be prepared to succeed in college, career, and life. These foundational skills are not an end all to themselves. Rather, they are necessary and an important component of an effective comprehensive reading program designed to develop proficient readers with the capacity to comprehend texts across a range of types and disciplines. As part of your assignment for this module, you'll be asked to unpack your reading literature standards. We will explain this later on in the text. When you see this definition, the words that stand out to me are extracting, where we read the information, constructing meaning, where we determine what that is saying, interaction and involvement, using what we're learning either in speaking, writing, in some way to cement your learning. We need to build in sufficient practice, 5 to 25 different exposures. Most researchers say that 7 to 12 times before the average student can move the skill to long-term memory. We need to vary the type of presentations, whether they're written, PowerPoint, video, clips, posters, etc. We need to vary the type of responses the students provide, highlighting, filling out a graphing or organizer, writing about it, acting it out. We need to make sure that students can define vocabulary to show they truly understand what the word means, as well as synonyms and antonyms. We need to make sure we explicitly name these strategies like summarizing, comparing, contrasting, etc. We need to teach kids when and where to use them, that narrative text has the following elements, that informational text has the following elements. We need to model explicitly our thinking as a teacher. When I see this picture of a map, I know that type of thinking. We need to do lots of language, talking as well as reading. You can't teach comprehension quietly. The standards include speaking and listening for this reason. Here is another definition of comprehension. These are the top 10 research comprehension strategies for comprehension. You will be looking at each of these during the next modules. All of these strategies help students build metacognition and comprehension. Learning does occur before we start reading, during we're reading, and after reading, and each of them has a specific purpose and need. Before playing a sport or doing other physical activities, it is important to warm up and prepare your body for the upcoming task. It is the same way with reading. You need to warm up and prepare your mind for reading so that you can perform your best. Get the most out of it and increase your comprehension. Students have to know what they're reading for, what we want them to glean from reading. Here are some of the strategies to use when you're doing pre-reading. You don't use them all. You will determine that by the needs of your students and what you're hoping for them to gain. If you are unfamiliar with any of these strategies, please email me for further information regarding that skill. During the reading phase, students are guided by the teacher to focus on different comprehension strategies, make connections, and integrate new ideas with existing background knowledge, preparing them to practice the skill until they can automatically use the skill in real life. The biggest part of the time is to practice what they learn in shared and whole group instruction while still having the students read a majority of the time. Our own beliefs about what kids can do often determine or limit what kids are capable of doing. If we don't believe that second graders can read 15 minutes straight, then they will prove you right. They won't be able to. From 2005 to 2015, the average amount of time Americans spent reading for personal interest on weekend days and holidays fell by 6 minutes to 21 minutes per day. On work days, Americans spend an average of fewer than 2 minutes reading per day. Pretty scary statistics. Please remember that when students are reading, it should never be round robin. Research has shown that this type of reading detracts from students comprehending because students are so concerned about reading aloud independently that they really don't follow along, or they stop comprehending once they've finished reading. We can do close reading, where teacher reads and leaves out 1 or 2 words per sentence, the students filling in those words. We can do choral reading, where everyone's reading at the same time. Echo reading, where the teacher reads a selection, then students read the same selection again, repeating what she said. We can do groups, boys, girls, tables, whatever you choose. It needs to be that all the students have a chance to read and gain from it. After reading strategies allow students to recall, evaluate, apply, and extend the skills to other texts in real life, helping students to solidify their thinking and making sure their takeaway is the same as the takeaway you intended them to gain. Early exposure to different types of text build the capacity to understand the large variety of reading materials that students will encounter as they move from grade to grade. There's informational, narrative, biographies, poetries, lots of different kinds of genres. In When we're reading, we need to make sure that by 8th grade, we want the children to be at least to read 45% literature and 55% informational. Because by the time they get to 12th grade, the percentages change to 30% literature and 70% informational text. In elementary, we're asking teachers to strive for 50-50, 50% literature text and 50% informational text. Choose texts of high quality and richness and depth, strong organization, different richness in word choice and sentence structure. Choose texts with word recognition and comprehension difficultly appropriate for the student's reading ability and the instructional activities. Students should have the opportunity to read challenging text with support from the content and the teacher. Reading to students, select text that is well above the student's reading level, but is at their listening comprehension level is all right. Students are not just reading, they are reading for a purpose, to understand, to summarize, etc., as well as reading for enjoyment on their own. Text complexity consists of a number of ideas. It is the Every Grade Anchor Standard number 10 in literature and informational. It is a triangulation of data. Qualitative dimensions, the dimensions of text complexity, require an informed judgment on the difficulty considering a range of factors. The standards use purpose or levels of meaning, structure, language, conventions, and clarity. Measured by a reader's level of meaning and purpose, demands and quality. Qualitative dimensions are the factors of such as sentence length, word numbers, unfamiliarity words, to calculate the difficulty of a text. It's the readability, readers and task considerations, the third measure of what students look at to bring to the text. Teachers need to use their knowledge of their students and to the text to match text to particular students and tasks. If you're unsure of a level of a text, you can take a portion of it and type it or copy-paste it into Lexile.com, and it will give you an approximate text level. You can also go to and Google Scholastic Book Wizard, and it will give you an approximate Fontes and Pinnell level for that text. When you're reading, you need to know about what you're going for. On the right-hand side, you will see the Lexile bands that are the approximate Lexiles we expect students to be reading at. The next two slides show you an example. Here is an Amazing Animals. The students would be reading this, finding out what chameleons are, what cheetahs are, things like this. And then when we're done reading, we have to evaluate that somehow. On the next page, I have evaluated that text based on what's going on. So here you'll see, this is the rubric for text complexity. You may or not or may agree, but after looking at text structure, language features, purpose, etc., etc., we look at how complex it is. You are not expected to do this for every text, but you will be doing it for 2 texts for this purpose for this module. They are both included in the module. Here's the narrative one. Hopefully this course will help you identify a number of ideas that will help you teach comprehension in the classroom. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will get with you as soon as I can.